good, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the What's Good Games podcast, your source for video game news, commentary, analysis, and funny stuff every freaking Friday. I'm one of your hosts, Brittany Brombacher, alongside my Pokemon partner in crime, Brian Shea.
Hey, how's it going, Britt? Thanks for having me back.
I'm so excited. Now, for those of you who don't know, Brian was just here a couple weeks ago, and Brian, I totally skipped over your title, so let me give you a super dramatic senior editor of Game Informer magazine and host of All Things Nintendo podcast. Whoa.
Super serious.
Super serious. No, I mean, when I saw that the Pokemon news was going to be the main topic of this week's show, I said, man, Brian and I just had a fantastic conversation about Pokemon Arceus. I don't even remember the right way to pronounce
It's Arceus.
Arceus. I'm gonna fuck it up again. I'm just fair warning.
I had Kit and Krista from formerly of Nintendo and now the Kit and Krista podcast on my show, and they just left Nintendo a month or two ago.
Oh yeah.
And I was talking about Pokemon Legends Arceus, and they were like, "Oh wow, you're saying it the right way. Nintendo would be very happy." And I'm like, "Okay, so that affirms that is the correct pronunciation. So it's Arceus."
Arceus. Okay, friend, take a shot every time I say Arceus, because it's gonna happen and you will get drunk. Or maybe just drink water instead, I
have that alongside my other drink.
I was speaking of beverages, you made another fancy drink for this week's show.
I did. I made a whiskey sour with egg white.
I was telling you off the show that it looks almost tropical because it has that creamy look to it with that fancy fruit that you put in there.
Well, it does have citrus, so that qualifies as tropical, right?
I think so. I mean, I haven't been anywhere tropical in 50 years, so I don't remember anymore. But how have you been? You were just at DICE, so give us a little update. How's Brian doing?
Brian's doing all right. Just same old, aside from when I was at DICE, which was it's in Las Vegas, so it's always a fun time. Got to see a lot of people that I haven't seen in quite a while. I was just at the Game Awards in December, so I did see a good amount of people there, but this was some of them were the same people, but other ones were completely different. So it still had kind of that family reunion vibe that I talked about, I think, last time on the show. And it was a blast. And it was great to meet a whole bunch of people for the first time, see people that I haven't seen in a long time for the first time in 2 years. So yeah, overall, a great time. I got to see sit in on a conversation. It was a panel for it was Joe Russo of Avengers Infinity War fame and Donald Mustard, so one of the chief creatives over at Epic Games. So Fortnite and Avengers talking about universe building within an IP. So it was these are masters of that. So that was a really cool conversation to sit in on. And then of course working backstage at the DICE Awards, so getting you to interview the winners as they're coming off the stage with their awards. So chatting with the Forza Horizon 5 team, the Halo Infinite team, the Ratchet and Clank team. I think we talked to them 3 times because they won so many awards.
Oh, nice.
And then, of course, Ed Boon, who was inducted into their Hall of Fame. So that was really cool as well. And yeah, very well deserved. Just a master of his craft and has been doing this for 30 years. Well, more than 30 years, but Mortal Kombat for 30 years. And then stuff before that with pinball machines and everything even before that.
Ah, man. That's so cool. I'm so jealous. One of these days, I'll get my ass out to a convention. I'm hoping, I think PAX East is out for me, but there's no E3, so rip that. I guess PAX West is the next major thing coming up in 5 months.
GDC, but GDC, I'm not going to that, unfortunately. I would love to, but unfortunately, I am not on the docket for that one. And then, yeah, PAX East, I'm not going to either. Maybe something will pop up in the summer. Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe somebody will fill that void.
Hopefully, Keely, we're looking at you. You're our only hope at this
point. Come on,
point.
Jeff.
And how are things going with the All Things Nintendo podcast?
Very good. So the episode that hits today, surprise, is just looking back at all the Pokemon Day news. So you'll probably hear a little repetition between the 2 episodes today, or your episode and the one that I'm recording. But yeah, going very well. You all right over there?
Oh yeah, man. I'm drinking some Johnny Walker Friends scotch. It just hits differently than the little Maker's Mark there, so it kind of burned my throat a little bit. But I try to pull it off until Brian called me out. But so again, Brian, thank you for joining us this week. Andrea is obviously out, but she will be back next week with a very, very special guest that we're all very excited about. And yeah, I'm excited to talk to you about Pokemon. So let's get into it. But first, I want to thank this month's Patreon producers, Chewy, Godson, Alex Rigopulos, David Iacolucci, Faris Attieh, Justin Foshee, Matthew Goderre, and Punkdefied. and welcome to our Patreon community, Steven Dark, not to be confused with Steven Light. And thank you, new podcast reviewers, Smudge822, Rs7667, and then, Brian, this is what people do. This name, it's HSAFGHGFCBHGV. So, Hasavigishvigshb.
Very Scandinavian sounding.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, for your review, as well as Xavier Spirit. Thank you so much for your reviews, friends. Again, it keeps us feeling warm and fuzzy, gives a little ego boost, and, just gives us some fuel when we feel like, we've hit a wall. So we really, really appreciate it. Also, thank you to this week's sponsors, MeUndies, Fixture Gaming, and Guild Wars. But we'll tell you more about that later, because, ladies and gentlemen, Pokemon Day happened. Now, Brian, actually kind of forgot about Pokemon Day. It wasn't until Sunday, I think afternoon or something, that I just happened to pop on Twitter, and I saw some unknown starters. And I was like, who are these folks? What are these characters? Who are they and what are they? So I thought real quick we could just kind of briefly go through like some headlines here. We'll really do the deep dive into Scarlet and Violet after we kind of like briefly go through all this stuff. Because while this stuff is cool, listen, it's not the meat and potatoes. You know what I mean? It's not like
Absolutely
the cream of the crop. So all this comes from Game Informer. So thank you, Game Informer. This year was nothing short of a great stream, bringing news of updates for many of the franchise's titles, including Pokemon Go, Pokemon Brilliant Diamond, and Pokemon Shining Pearl, Pokemon Legends Arceus, and even the reveal of Generation 9, or Gen 9 if you're one of the cool kids. So obviously we got Scarlet and Violet, but we'll talk about that in a second. But maybe this was the biggest one. You let me know. Pokemon Legends Arceus Daybreak Update. So this adds a new investigation to the game for players to take part in. You must investigate a new phenomenon that is causing a mass outbreak of what appears to be alpha Pokemon. Plus, this update adds new trainer battles to the in-game training grounds.
Yeah, so that is definitely the second biggest announcement to come out of this stream, and I think I haven't had a chance to check out any of this stuff firsthand, by the way, because I've just been on the road this entire time. I did open up, we'll talk about Pokemon Go in a little bit. I did open up Pokemon Go and catch a Poplio, so I was pretty excited about that, because it's always exciting when they add new Pokemon to that game, even though I don't really play it that much anymore. But yeah, this is definitely the biggest news to come out of that stream outside of Scarlet and Violet. And a lot of people wanted new trainer battles added to this game, and this seems to give it to them.
Well, there you go. X gonna give it to you. In this case, Nintendo. Game Freak. Let's go.
Game Freak gonna give it to you. Yeah.
I have to be honest. I haven't played more than maybe 4 or 5 hours of Arceus. It just didn't click with me immediately, and so I'm thinking like maybe right now just isn't the time. So I'm gonna try a few weeks and play in a few other games right now, and then I'm hoping to come back to it.
I told you this on the last episode I was on. That intro is sluggishly slow.
Yeah.
So slow. No voice acting, just all like reading and like dialogue heavy cutscenes. And it's like, oh, catch these 3 Pokemon. All right, now back to talking for an hour.
Yeah.
So once you get through that, it's a very Persona 4-esque opening where you're just in dialogue for hours, and then it opens up, and then the game is amazing. So
right.
I hope you do go back to it and try to stick with it. I think you're through the woods, though. Like you're out of the woods, and you're into like the main gameplay loop, and that's when it really sunk its hooks into me.
Out of the woods and into the tall grass.
Very good.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm definitely going to hop back in later because I think I've gotten all the tutorial stuff out of the way. So I'm going to let it simmer, and then I'll hop back into the world of Arceus. Yeah, that's right. I actually try to fuck it up because I wanted to force everyone to take a shot, but I actually got it right. Anyway, enough about that.
I'll take a drink anyway.
Thank you. Please do. I feel like my mission was not in vain. All right, we also got some stuff for Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl Mystery Gift Shaman. A new mystery event for Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl will go live, and it will give players Oak's Letter. This can be used to begin the mythical Pokemon Shaman encounter in-game, giving players the chance to add this Pokemon to their party and Pokedex. Cool. I'm not going to go back and do this. Brian, does this do anything for you?
No.
All right.
It's it's a free Pokemon that's a pretty cool one. Like, it's mythical, so like it's not like a super common one you could catch anywhere else. So yeah, it's cool. But like they've done this before with if you had like a Let's Go save, or if you had a Sword and Shield save, you got, I think it was Mew and Celebi, you get them for free, and I think those are cooler Pokemon. So like, yeah, sure, I'll take a free mythical Pokemon, but like maybe it's enough to get me to fire the game up again, but not enough to like be like, oh, now I need to play this.
I gotta drop everything and go back in. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. I have so many games on my plate right now. It's ridiculous.
Next up, Pokemon Go Alola update. Starting March 1st, Pokemon from Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon will begin to appear in Pokemon Go. So it sounds like you are someone who likes to dive back into Pokemon Go every now and again. I maybe touch it at this point once every like 7 months. There was a time
That's about my frequency as well.
Okay, yeah.
So you played a lot like in 2016, 2017, I imagine.
Tons, every single day. Yeah.
That was my daily game for the longest time. It was like that and Overwatch. And I just haven't played that much. Like I think it was like last summer was the last time I really put like an actual like dedicated, all right, I'm going to go for a walk so I can catch Pokemon. But like that was still when like there weren't a whole lot of places open, and like it was like, all right, well I guess I'll walk around my stupid neighborhood again, and like
that was it for me too.
Catching Pokemon. But like the thing about Pokemon Go is like it was always a huge event whenever they added a new generation of Pokemon. It always felt like a big deal. It always felt like this is like an event worth playing, and like this is gonna like give it a shot in the arm and make it seem like fresh again, you know, because like after a certain period of time, I remember when it was just Gen 1, after a certain period of time, it was like, all right, I've caught all the Pokemon. I have like all the Pokemon that are in here. Like maybe once in a while I'll find like a Dratini and that'll give me more candy so I can get closer to getting a Dragonite.
Right.
But like after a certain period, it just wasn't that same level of excitement. And then they introduced Gen 2 and it was like, oh my God, there's like a whole new Pokedex to fill out. This is amazing. And then like I think I stuck with it through the introduction and the inclusion of Gen 4, and then I fell off pretty sharply. But now we're getting to Gen 7, and it's like, holy crap! Like we're almost caught up to like the mainline games at this point.
God, that's wild to me. Yeah, I stopped playing like every day a while ago because I would just walk around my neighborhood here, but all I had were Pidgeys. And I was like, you know, I'm sick of fucking Pidgeys. Listen. Like,
and it's not like the kind of game, like I used to like plan weekends around it. Like back in like when the game first came out, I'd be like, all right, where are the parks that are going to have the good Pokemon?
Yes.
Let's take like a day trip out to the parks, or like, let's take a day trip to the city so we can just walk around downtown and catch a bunch of like rare Pokemon that we can't get in the neighborhood. And now it's like, all right, if I'm somewhere where there might be some good Pokemon, like I didn't do it at all when I was in Vegas. So I should have done it when I was in Vegas, now that I think of it. But like, you know, now it's like, oh, if I think of it, I'll open up Pokemon Go and see if there's anything cool around.
Oh man, that was such a fun time. Such a fun
it
time
was.
to
like,
be a
I've
gamer.
Seen, like, I've seen the tweets where it's like summer 2016 when Pokemon Go first came out was like the closest we've ever had to world peace.
Oh my God, yeah.
That's kind of true. Like everybody was just going around catching Pokemon and having a good old time.
Simple times, ladies and gentlemen. Those were the simple days. Oh man. Well, moving on from Pokemon Unite. Not Pokemon Go to Pokemon Unite. It is getting a new type of battle, full Fury battles. And my understanding is these are just quicker, more intense, frenzied little skirmishes, if you will. We also got a new look at Hoopa, who is joining the game, and a tease of the next Pokemon getting added to the roster after that. Duraludon. How do you say that one?
I'm gonna say Duraludon.
Duraludon. Yeah, it's kind of
like a dinosaur.
Duraludon. Anywho, have you played Unite at all? Is that something that you've dipped your feet into?
No. It's something I want to check out at one point, but I'm just not a MOBA guy.
Yeah, so you know, my husband is obsessed with Pokemon Unite. Like he loved Smash, and he still does, but it got his blood pumping too much. And he was like, I need to chill. And he's like, okay. So what he loves about Unite though is that it gives you like that brief adrenaline rush, but it's so simple. And then like if you lose, it's not a big deal because it's kind of like a team effort. Anyway, like he plays it every night. He walks on the treadmill for probably like an hour and a half and plays it while walking.
Oh, wow.
And it's great for him because it makes it go super fast. So I'm getting a lot of vicarious Pokemon Unite thrills from watching him. And I even played it for a while there, but after a bit, I just couldn't keep up with everything. I was like, it's fun. And my main was Crimorant. I love that stupid.
Ooh.
I love that stupid.
So is that your first MOBA, or did you play other MOBAs?
No, totally my first, probably my last. And you know, Steimer, who works at Riot, is, you know, League. She was always laughing at me. She's like, "That's not a MOBA." She's like, "That's like baby's first like half of a MOBA." And I was like, "I know," and it was fun, but it's it was.
By the way,
yeah,
already vanquished the whiskey sour.
Holy crap! I need to catch up. Hold on.
You do need to catch up. Yeah, that's when the fun starts.
All right. So I have finished now my probably shot and a half of scotch. Brian has finished his whiskey sour. Now things get fun because we are almost to Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. All right. Next up, Pokemon Masters EX is getting new trainers, features, and more. Pokemon Cafe Remix is getting deliveries. I'm sure that means something to a lot of you out there. To me, it doesn't mean much. I hope.
So like that's another like Masters Masters seems like a game that I would love, and I actually downloaded it and I started it up and I was like, I don't have time for this. I have too much other stuff on my plate, and I just never went back to it. I was like, I'll save it on my phone, and then eventually like I ran out of space on my phone, so that was like on the chopping block and I got rid of it. But like Cafe Remix, like I love those dumb little puzzle games. Like I love the Pokemon Battle Trozai. Like that was a great game that I loved playing. And Pokemon Cafe Remix, I keep wanting to give it a shot, but again, there's only a finite amount of time in the day. And I currently have 3 giant open world games to play through. So it's like
help
Pokemon Cafe Remix or this. But yeah, like deliveries, like apparently it's like a good way to like attract Pokemon that aren't otherwise in the game to your cafe. And a bunch of events coming, and then also like they're for the I think the 2-year anniversary, they're going to start introducing even more Pokemon that haven't come into the game. So like I guess like I don't know, was it Victini I think is the one they mentioned, or maybe I'm getting my games mixed up. I don't know, there's like 27 Pokemon games that we're talking about today.
There's so many. I can't
that they're talking about being in that.
I can't. Yeah, I mean, listen, I love Pokemon so much, but I can't even fucking keep up with all of this. It is just so much. But hey, you know what? Variety is good. And finally, well, besides the big story we're talking about here, new online Pokemon anime. So a new, quote, online animated series set in Hoshee region has begun production. This means that the game will take place in the world of Pokemon Legends Arceus. Take a shot. It will be an original story and set to premiere in 2022. I liked the look of this. I just finished watching, what was the latest series that just came out, Brian? It was only like each episode was maybe like,
was it like Wings of Twilight or something like that?
It was like, well, no, these were on YouTube, I think, only, and they were published on the Pokemon's YouTube channel, and they were maybe like 10 to 15 minutes a piece, and each one was based off of each
Twilight Wings. Damn it!
Is that what it's called? Oh, okay. Well, whatever it was, I can't remember, but it was each episode was dedicated to each generation. And what I love.
Oh, wait.
Is that
that was the Sword and Shield one, I think, was Twilight Wings, but Generations, I think.
Generations, that's it. God, those were good. I wish they were longer and a little bit more thorough, but I would love a Pokemon anime in that style. Like, don't get me wrong, like the cute shit with like Ash, whatever, adorable. I'm happy it exists, but the more like mature art style, it just, God, it looked so good. I would want more of that.
Have you watched? I think it's called Evolutions.
Yes. Is that what I'm thinking of? I thought, okay, hold on. Or is it Generations?
So there's Generations, there's Evolutions, there's Twilight Wings, there's,
oh my God,
I think, Origins. Those are all like kind of like the web shorts that they've put out.
Okay, maybe
Origins is a good one, but like they actually have pretty good like there's one scene, if I'm thinking of, I always confuse Evolutions and Origins, but like they actually show like a Squirtle just biting the hell out of like a Charmander's cheek, and it's kind of like disturbing because it's like it looks like painful the way he just latches onto him. Like, damn, like.
But that's what I want. That's what I want, an M-rated Pokemon game. Damn it! Am I ever gonna get it? Probably not. But you know what? Yeah, probably not. So anyway, lots of Pokemon going on. So now let's get to the real. I'm trying to think of a Pokemon. The real talks out. Fuck it. I'm gonna butcher it. I'm not even gonna try. All right. Pokemon Scarlet, Pokemon Violet have been revealed alongside a first look at starters, and this is releasing late 2022 from Game Informer. I'm just gonna read this, and then we can just like go balls to the wall. So. The next mainline Pokemon games have been revealed as Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet, and they will be released on the Switch in late 2022. The trailer begins with a security guard at Game Freak checking something out before it transitions to footage from Scarlet and Violet. Adopting the look of Sword and Shield, although with significant graphical upgrades, this game appears to be set in a region such as Italy or perhaps somewhere in South America based on some of the architecture. Regardless, the trailer features plenty of sweeping vistas, familiar pocket monster faces, and beautiful use of color. Quote, with these new titles, the Pokemon series takes a new evolutionary step, allowing you to explore freely in a richly expressed open world, the official page for these games reads. Various towns blend seamlessly into the wilderness with no borders. You'll be able to see the Pokemon of this region in the skies, in the seas, in the forests, on the streets, all over. You'll be able to experience the true joy of
Find
the...
me on the streets.
I know, right? You fucking see like a Charmander in a trench coat, like open it up and be like, what do you want? Have all these like Rolexes and shit in his trench coat. That would be weird. Hey, man. I would buy a Rolex from a Charmander. Just throwing that out there.
I would too.
You'll be able to experience the true joy of the Pokemon series, battling against wild Pokemon in order to catch them, now in an open world game that players of any age can enjoy. Perhaps most exciting to fans is the big reveal that Generation 9 starters, Grass-type cat... Oh, God. How do you say that one? Sprigatio?
I'm going to say Sprigatito.
Sprigatito? Okay, I like that. Sprigatito. Fire-type Croc Fuecoco and Water-type Tugling Quaxley. God, I love it. Game Freak says these games will hit the Switch in late 2022, so expect a release date to be revealed at a later time for somewhere around October or November. Okay, so, wow. Were you expecting to see Gen 9, or did you already, know because you're fancy Brian from Game Informer?
I didn't already know, but I was expecting to see Gen 9 at least teased last Pokemon Day. And that's because we were due. Even though Sword and Shield feels so recent, this is the cadence at which we usually get new generations of Pokemon. It always feels like, oh my God, it's been so long since we've gotten a new generation. When we look back in hindsight, it's oh yeah, the gap between Gen 8 and 9, or that's not hindsight, that's what's currently happening. Gen 6 and 7. That is, it always seems so long in hindsight, but it's really only 3 or 4 years max, So we are due for a new generation at this point. So I was kind of surprised they did announce it, because it does feel because they did the expansions and then they also did kind of a stopgap with Legends Arceus, that maybe we would get an extra year between it. I'll tell you this, I wasn't surprised that we saw it. I was surprised that it's coming out this year, since we already got a good game in Legends Arceus.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, and we could talk about this later. I'm so where does this put Breath of the Wild 2? Yeah, granted, you know what I mean? We got Xenoblade coming out in September. We have Breath of the Wild, which you assume would have been their main holiday blockbuster, but now you have Pokemon, which is the late 2022, and so that really threw me for a loop. But that's a whole conversation, I guess, probably for later. But
yes, but that is a good indication, because there's been a lot of speculation of is Breath of the Wild sequel really going to make 2022?
Right.
And this may be tipping their hands, and if not, we have a hell of a holiday season from Nintendo.
Oh, absolutely. It would be wonderful. I have a little list here actually from Nintendo Life, and they kind of go, for those who need a reminder, got Triangle Strategy, these are in order of dates, Kirby and the Forgotten Land, Nintendo Switch Sports, Mario Strikers, Fire Emblem Warriors, Three Hopes, Splatoon 3 this summer, Xenoblade Chronicles September, Mario Rabbids, Bayonetta 3, Scarlet Violet, and Breath of the Wild sequel. Damn.
And Xenoblade. Did you say Xenoblade?
I think I did, unless I skipped over it, which I could have done. I could have blamed the Scotch for it.
I don't know.
Either way, yeah. Holy hell. So that's why, again, with you, I was kind of surprised to see it, because we did get Arceus. But then I was more surprised, I guess, to see it coming out this year. But what are your thoughts after watching this trailer?
So my first thought, you were talking about the region and where it could be based on. We know that Sword and Shield is based on, the Galar region is based on England.
Right.
My first thought when I saw that, you mentioned Italy or maybe South America somewhere. My thought when I heard the starter names was it's either Spain or somewhere in South America, or just Latin America in general, because Sprigatito and Fuecoco sounds Spanish, right?
Sure, yeah.
I don't know where Quaxley fits into that, but it's a cute name for a duck. But yeah, that was my first thought, was that it has to be, maybe it's Italian. I don't know. I'm not well versed in any kind of Italian etymology or anything, but I know it's a Romance language, much like Spanish.
Yeah.
So maybe it fits into that convention as well. But that was my thought as well, was that it might be South America or Latin America or maybe Spain. But I would actually be surprised if they did another European country so soon after Sword and Shield as the inspiration.
That is an interesting point. I didn't even think about that. I agree, but I also think that they just march to the beat of their own drum, and they're like, I wouldn't have been surprised if they did another game in England. Like, I wouldn't have been, but that's okay. Either way, though, I'm with you. I think it's more of like, it reminds me more of Spain. And what I really liked about the trailer, though, was just the vibrant colors. I love just pausing and looking at like the stills and being like, oh my God, like they look like the wild regions, but like way better. There's more verticality, more rolling hills, waterfalls, rivers, and it looks more like a habitable ecosystem for Pokemon to like live in. And I think for me, like watching some of the footage, you can tell some of it's still maybe a little early, and that's okay. Like that's fine. But just seeing some of the Psyduck kind of wandering around in the marshes, I was like, okay, that's really cool. But it does kind of, again, like look like they just maybe place the Pokemon in these little areas and like, okay, Psyducks belong in the marshes, so like you're here. Or like Growlithe belong in like these volcano areas, like you're there. But like what my ultimate hope is that you actually see like these Pokemon like interacting with their environments and not just kind of like
I would
aimlessly,
love that, yeah.
right? Like not aimlessly wandering around. But
And sorry, I was actually because I was actually typing something, looking up to see if I could find where they went on their media tour.
mhm.
Because that's where they got the inspiration for the Galar region. Was they went on a media tour to England for Pokemon
Oh.
Sun and Moon. So I was seeing if maybe they went to like somewhere in South America or Latin America or Spain or something like that for the Sword and Shield media tour. I know they went to San Francisco, but that's definitely not where this is
No.
based on.
Interesting.
So I was trying to see if I could just quickly bring that up through the magic of Google, and I could not without disrupting the entire flow of the show, as I just did. Anyway.
Listen,
So,
I do it all the time. There's no flow to this show. We just shoot the shit and have a good time. It doesn't matter.
but yes,
yeah.
environmental interactions, I would love that. Like, I'd love to because right now in like Legends Arceus, you can throw food to them and like watch them eat it and stuff. But like, I want to see them like, I want to see like I don't know.
You want to see a Squirtle biting a Charmander.
Exactly.
Because they're
Bite the
pissed
hell out of
off.
that
They're
Charmander.
fighting over a sexy Venusaur. I don't know. That would be really weird.
Interesting choice there. Okay.
That
I want to
was
see like a Pidgeotto swoop down and like pick a Magikarp up out of the water.
you evil. I knew you were going there with that. I had a feeling because listen, friends.
I blame your icon on Discord because you have a
know.
Magikarp as your icon.
I have a Magikarp. He's my boy. Every Pokemon card, not everyone, that's an exaggeration, but a lot of Pokemon cards for Magikarp on the bottom. It talks about how they're always getting swooped up and eaten and how they're really stupid and dumb. And my boy just gets no love. And here's Brian Shea from Game Informer, boycott Game Informer, saying he wants to
Wow.
see a Pidgeotto swoop my boy up and take him off to feed its little Pidget eggs. Bullshit. Anyway, I digress. But I'm with you. And so that actually kind of brings up
After that whole rant, but I'm with you.
I'm with you. Listen, I would be very sad, but there are so many Magikarp in the sea that I wouldn't be mad if I got to see like a Pidgeotto like come down and get my boy. It would be cool. Like that's the kind of interaction I want.
What if they played The Lion King's The Circle of Life as it happened?
Oh no! Oh God! It would be so good though, wouldn't it?
It would be amazing as it flies off towards the sunset.
It's a circle of life, and you just see Magikarp's like tail flopping feebly as it's whisked off away to the treetops. Oh man, listen, Nintendo, if you need writers, Brian and I are looking to quit our jobs. I mean, that's not true. Brian does not want to quit his job, but listen, I will write for you. You will have a fucked up Pokemon game, but I'm here. But there was an interesting point that Nintendo Life brought up, which was, as highlighted by Cerebi.net, Cerebi.net, excuse me, it looks like players will only be able to add specific pocket monsters to these games via the Pokemon Home app. This suggests, quote, not all Pokemon may be coded into the next Nintendo Switch entries. And there's over 900 Pokemon right now. So, like, here's what I was telling Jason about. I was like, listen, like, there are so many Pokemon, and we were just talking about this, Brian. I wouldn't mind if you make it so you can't catch the whole damn Pokedex. Just even give me like a third or a half or a quarter. I don't care. But if they took the time to animate every single Pokemon and like do like kind of those real world interactions, I think that would be so sick. That would be.
Well, that's been the biggest sticking point in the community, right? Is the national Pokedex. Like that was Sword and Shield. When I wrote the cover story, like my mentions were just exploding with like, there's no national Pokedex. Like this game is total garbage. And it was just like, but like, what if it isn't? Like, like I understand the desire to have like, by the time Gen 9 hits, we're probably going to have over 1,000 Pokemon. Like we're going to cross that
Absolutely.
1,000 monster threshold, unless this is a like exceedingly small generation of monsters. But like we're in all likelihood going to cross that 1,000 monster mark when this game comes out, and that's incredible. But like I would love to see all those monsters in one. Like we got closer to it with like the 2 expansions that came to Pokemon Sword and Shield, with having like the national decks pretty fully represented, but like it took 2 paid expansions to get there.
Right.
And now that we have high resolution assets for all of those Pokemon through Sword and Shield, like it would be cool to see them move a lot of them over and like give them new animations, new environmental interactions, new interactions with one another. All that stuff would be incredible. I just think that's a lot of work for a studio that is surprisingly small for how much money it brings in and for how many games it churns out on at this point, Pokemon is basically an annualized franchise, right?
Yeah, and I think that was one of my biggest gripes. Not to kick a dead horse here, not to kick a dead Ponyta. Hey, I know that's really morbid. Actually,
I might need to go make another drink after that one.
Yeah, that's really morbid shit. Yeah, that's my whole thing. And
like,
I think
when Ponytas die, does their flame continue, or do they just like a normal horse at that point?
Oh, you know what? Oh God, that's fucked. It reminds me of when Charmander and the Charmanders, when their flame goes out, they die.
Yeah. So is that the same for Ponyta?
I'm assuming. And then it's just a regular naked horse without a mane at that point. See, like, here's the thing, though.
Oh, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you have not read the descriptions of Pokemon on Pokemon cards, you got to do it. It's morbid.
And the Pokédex. Did I bring this up last time?
No, I don't think so.
Where I wrote a feature about like the 10 most disturbing Pokédex entries.
Oh, I'd love to read that. I would love to read that.
I'm going to bring some of them up right here.
Please
I don't know if I've done this before.
No, please do. Because it gets dark. And you're reading them and you're like, yo, like, this doesn't seem like the same Game Freak. But apparently it is.
I feel like I've done this. Maybe it was a different podcast.
No, do it. Please do it. Let's do it. I love this. I love this.
Let's see. We got Gengar, Gyarados, Houndoom, Tyranitar, Carvanha, Banette.
Is Sandygast on there? I feel like he would be a good one.
Yep.
Okay.
Drifloon, Frostlass, Goderre, Thundurus, Honedge, Gourgeist, Beware, Palossand, not Sandygast.
Yeah.
And Mimikyu. So we'll start with Mimikyu.
Okay.
A gust of wind revealed what hides under this Pokemon's rag to a passing trainer who went home and died painfully that very night. So that is the entry from Pokemon Ultra Moon. Palossand, which is one of the sandcastle-looking Pokemon. This is the Pokemon Moon entry, because they get new entries every single game. Buried beneath the castle are masses of dried-up bones from those whose vitality it has drained. I do like Frostlass. When it finds humans or Pokemon it dislikes, it freezes them and takes them to its chilly den where they become decorations.
I love it. See, this shit's fucked up. It's fucked up.
Here's a real circle of life situation here with Gorbis.
Okay.
From Pokemon Ultra Moon. It sucks bodily fluids out of its prey. The leftover meat sinks to the sea floor where it becomes food for other Pokemon.
Holy fuck. Okay, that's, I think, the most fucked up one by far.
Okay, well, we'll end with this one, okay?
Okay, yeah.
This is Drifloon from Pokemon Sun, and I love like the punctuation of this entry. The final sentence. Stories go that it grabs the hands of small children and drags them away to the afterlife. It dislikes heavy children.
Who is writing this shit? I feel like there is such
I wish it was me, because I would go even harder.
Oh, you would? Because I feel like there's a big disconnect between like this sunshine and rainbows and Butterfree's image that Pokemon likes to do, and then you have like this morbid fuck. But I love it. I love that you wrote that. Is that on Game Informer?
It is on GameInformer.com. I'm trying to find a contrasting one.
God, that's so good.
Let's see. Here's an entry for Jigglypuff to be a palate cleanser.
Okay.
This is from Ash's Pokedex, I believe, from the anime. Jigglypuff, a balloon Pokemon. It has large, friendly eyes, and it sings a pleasant song.
Oh, see, now that's sweet. That's something more along...
palate cleanser.
Yeah, no.
From Pallet Town.
Oh. Got it.
Mm,
Nicely
sorry.
done. Nicely.
I had to match your bad joke with mine.
That's okay. You did a great job at that. Oh, see, like, I love that. So that's a Game Informer. So make sure you go give that a read because I think that stuff is just fucking.
Yeah, it is called The Scariest and Creepiest Entries in the Pokedex. And you got, I think, 15 or 10 or 15. I don't know. However many I rattled off. I rattled off all the names. You got to go read the entries, though.
Brilliant. Absolutely. That's such a good article. Oh, my God. That's such a good idea. All right. Well, since we're talking about Pokemon, I guess I should ask you, who is going to be your starter? Are you going with the Grass Cat Pokemon, the Fire Croc Pokemon, or the Duckling Pokemon?
So I typically lean towards fire Pokemon when it comes to starters. However, I went Rowlet for Legends Arceus as my starter, and I kind of regretted it because once I got into the world, there weren't a whole lot of fire Pokemon at the beginning. And so I felt like all right, I have a lot of grass Pokemon, and I already have Rowlet, so like, did I mess up? And I would actually recommend people, if like if you're interested in diversity in your Pokedex, like you want to have like different types represented in your party, start with a fire type in Legends Arceus. I think it's Cyndaquil, who is the fire Pokemon in Legends Arceus. For this one, man, I feel like Fuecoco is actually my least favorite.
I've heard that a lot from people.
I like him. Like he look like I've seen the memes of like he looks like a Bubble Bobble
That's
character.
That's exactly what I was just gonna say. Yeah.
And I'm all about that because Bubble Bobble was one of the first games I ever played. Ever in my life. So I'm I like that part of him, but like Quaxley looks like super cool. Like he looks like a chill dude I'd like to hang out with. And like Sprigatito, I think is my clubhouse leader right now, where like, I don't know, like I like cats.
Okay.
Grass types are usually not my jam, despite my Rowlet love. And like, I think as much like I'm always like getting dunked on by Bulbasaur lovers because I think he's the worst of the Gen 1 starters. As much as, and I don't think there's a bad, oh my God, the death stare threw me off my game here. I don't think there's a bad option in all of Gen 1 starters, but I will go Charmander, Squirtle, Bulbasaur as my hierarchy. But however, if you want to play on easy mode, I guess you could choose Bulbasaur since he wrecks the first two gym leaders before you have like a fully fleshed out party.
Maybe that's why I had the easy time because Bulbasaur
you can take out Brock and Misty pretty easily with Bulbasaur.
Yeah, I like Bulbasaur, and then he grew into a Venusaur, and he got way too OP, and I didn't understand how badges worked at the time, Brian, when I was a kid, and so my Venusaur never listened to me.
So that's my mini rant.
No, that's a good rant.
All that to say, Sprigatito is probably my starter for now. We may learn more about them as we get closer.
And I feel like that's been everyone's main is the cat because he's a really fucking cute little like grass cat, right? He's adorable.
He is, and I'm not always aligned with the people like the most popular pick. Like Poplio was my starter for whatever generation that was. That was that was Sun and Moon, right?
I can't remember.
Yeah, that was Sun and Moon because I'm looking at our cover right now, and Poplio is not in Sword and Shield.
Well, there you go. Yeah, so
it's so easy to get confused with the later gens for me for some reason. Like I don't know.
When we're younger, I think our memories were better, so all that knowledge just like stuck to us like a sponge, and now we can't.
I used to know all the numbers of the Pokemon Gen 1.
Holy crap!
Like 1 through 151.
That is impressive.
Not anymore. Now I'm 35 and stupid.
Yeah. Amen. That's how it goes.
Either that or my hard drive's just full.
I think that's honestly
like
what
erroneous
it is.
Information.
Pretty much. I think that's it. So yeah, like I'm looking at, and I think I just want to spite everyone and go with Fuecoco. I think like, oh, I get it. Fuecoco is probably play off fuego, fire, right? In Spanish, fuego, yeah. Fuecoco. Oh, I get it. Finally, okay. It all just connected. Quaxley, self-explanatory. Everyone's going for the cute cat, but here's what you know what's gonna happen, Brian. The cat's gonna evolve. It's gonna become bipedal, and everyone's gonna want to bang it. It's gonna turn into like the super muscular, like alpha cat, probably with big titties, and everyone's gonna be like, "Oh my god!"
I'm waiting for that.
And that I can't be disappointed because I hope beyond hope that Sprigatito turns out to be an adorable big cat. Like, you know how like Meowth turns into Persian. Like, it's like, okay, like cool, like a nicer, more mature, beautiful version of Meowth. But you know what they're going to do. Those little cute two front legs are going to turn into hands. It's probably going to wield a sword. It's probably going to be like Farfetch'd.
Like, I know it's like an evolution.
Yeah. I don't know what's going to happen. Something's going to happen, and it's going to turn into some probably weird, ugly, masculine, or super feminine looking cat, and everyone's going to want to bang it. Quaxley, I like Quaxley. I think he's super cute. I like his little like hat. I think that's really clever. But Fuecoco, I feel like I want to root for the underdog. I think I'm gonna go, and usually I don't start with fire because I feel like that's what everyone goes for is fire, and I usually want to like not go with the norm. But I think he's gonna be my boy this time.
But I do like that, like, in real life, the fire type would be the most deadly, right? Like,
It's true.
yeah, sure, like, the grass types can, like, whip you with a vine or shoot, like, razor leaves at you, but, like, and, like, yeah, the water type can, like, you know, if you're getting blasted with a fire hose, it's gonna hurt, and that's, like, basically what, like, a water type can do. But, like, Fuecoco can literally burn you and your stupid pet alive.
It's true.
Like, all right, yeah, go on, Quaxley. I mean, I know they have a type advantage over Fuecoco, but like, yeah, but here, have a tornado of fire coming your way. Good luck, idiot. Like in real life, Fuecoco kills all these fools.
Isn't that the truth? Everyone's rooting against him. And, you know, that's one of the reasons in Sword and Shield I wanted to go for Sobble, because I feel like everyone was saying Sobble was a feeble, pathetic-looking Pokemon. And to be fair, Sobble...
I went Sobble.
Evolved into Inteleon, and then he freaked me out. Inteleon freaked me out, Brian. I think it's because he grew overly attached to my trainer. He always wanted to be petted. It was weird. It was like a tall...
There was some sort of weird sexual tension, is what you're saying.
Tension? Oh, God. No, it was one-sided. It was one-sided lust between my Inteleon and my trainer. I wanted none of that. But he always wanted to be petted. He was always thinking about me. And no matter how many times I gave that little fish friend attention, he was never satisfied. And I said, no more, Inteleon. No more. You're going back in the box.
So it was a codependent relationship.
It was not healthy. So I sent
his Gigantamax was kind of cool. He went up like in a sniper tower.
It was. I used and abused him for that. But other than that, man. Whew. Oh, that was a good little rant.
We went down a weird path.
We did, but it happens. All right, so we actually have some listener questions
weird route,
here.
Sorry.
You're 2 for 1. I got one bad joke and you now have 2. I gotta keep up. We have a question here from John Liang who says, is Pokemon overdoing it with so many releases in the past couple of years? And Valerie Freeman chimes in and asks, will releasing a new Pokemon game this soon hurt Nintendo Niantic, or are we all a bunch of suckers who will buy it regardless? What do you think?
I think we've hit the annualized like franchise mark, right? Like looking at when like major releases are coming out, like, because what was it, 2018 no 2018 was when Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee came out. Correct?
It sounds right. Around that time.
2019 was when Sword and Shield came out. Did we get anything in 2020?
DLC? Was that in 2020?
We did get the DLC.
Yeah.
2021 we got Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, and also Pokemon Unite, which, you know, wasn't a Game Freak endeavor, but, you know, still a pretty big release in the Pokemon franchise. And then we got Legends Arceus already, and then we're gonna get Scarlet and Violet next year. So yeah, they are really going for it, right? And then we also got like Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon shortly before that, and then lots of stuff coming out. I don't think they're overdoing it because they're spacing it out. It's not like how we got with Assassin's Creed or how we've been with Call of Duty for so long, where it's like, oh my god, another Pokemon game that I need to play and like experience and whatever. It's like, all right, a Pokemon game came out, and sometimes it's a new game, sometimes it is a suite of expansions, sometimes it is a remake of an older game. So it's like, all right, I already played Diamond and Pearl. I don't need to play Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl unless I find time. Or I already played Sword and Shield. I don't need to dive into these expansions. Now I think like they have it figured out where like there's a pacing to it, aside from 2022 where it's just going to be ridiculous, where we have Legends Arceus and Violet and Scarlet. That is a little much, but I think that that's also a symptom of the pandemic pushing a lot of release dates back, you know? It's not like, I think that in a world where the pandemic doesn't exist, I think that Legends Arceus probably comes out in 2021, and maybe Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl comes out earlier that year, and we don't have to worry about having like 2 major Pokemon releases stacked in 2022. Because I think a lot of studios are starting to figure out like the work remote thing, if they haven't already. Because 2020, like that threw a huge wrench into everybody's operations, like having to transition from being like 100% in the office to 100% out of the office. And it's a thing that now we're kind of all adapted to, and we're starting to see that where like 2022 is just freaking stacked with all releases from all studios, and that's because so much stuff got delayed, and now we're kind of all in this groove. So yeah, I long story short, no, I don't think they're overdoing it, but I get why you would think that.
Yeah, and Valerie, at the end of the day, we're all just a bunch of suckers. Listen, we're all gonna buy it.
I'm a sucker.
Oh, absolutely, I'm a sucker. I will criticize Pokemon Arceus until, oh god, what are the cow Pokemon?
Miltanks.
Miltanks, come home. God, thank you, Brian. That was the one I was good for.
We were on the same wavelength there. I knew where you were going with that, and I picked up the ball and ran with it.
I very much appreciate it. But listen, I'm going to buy every single mainline game that comes out. It's just going to happen. I can't help it. I just can't help it. I love that series too much. So, yeah, I agree with everything Brian said there. Another question from Elizabeth. Do you think Game Freak will address some of the complaints and concerns people have with Arceus as in the new Scarlet Violet games? Do they even have time to implement changes like that with a release so soon? Brian, what do you think?
So a lot of the stuff that I've seen about Legends Arceus are not things that are applicable to mainline Pokemon games. Like, all right, there's a lot of dialogue and like explaining, right? There's a lot of like exposition, and I don't think we get that with like most mainline Pokemon games. Like there's always a little bit of like discussion of like world establishing and like what's going on in the region, and maybe we'll hint at like a big bad at some point in the future, but it's not super dialogue heavy. And then also like one of the main complaints is the lack of trainer battles in Legends Arceus, which they're remedying through that Daybreak expansion that we talked about earlier. And that's definitely not a problem in the mainline games. Like you're gonna have way too many trainers. You're gonna just be trying to get to the next town, and you're gonna have to battle like 27 trainers just to get there.
Yeah, you walked in front of me, I must fight you.
Exactly. Like, oh, I heard that like if trainers locked eyes, we have to battle. It's like that's not a law. Like we can just keep going our separate ways or be friends or whatever. The thing that I think that they will have to address are the performance issues, and I don't know if that is going to happen in a big open world game unless we get a Switch Pro, right? Because even going back last year and replaying my favorite game of all time, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, there are performance issues in that game. I think we overlooked a lot of them because the game was so amazing, but like I would have frame rate drops. I would have like stutters. Like there were a lot of things that like, oh, this game is running on inferior technology compared to like the PlayStation 4s at the time of the world, and especially now the PlayStation 5s of the world. Like I just came from playing PS5 to record this podcast, and it's like, wow, like having spent a lot of time playing Switch lately, this is a huge technological leap forward for like the visuals and the performance and everything. And it's like, all right, back to watching Pokemon Violet and Scarlet trailers, and boy oh boy is this not as technologically proficient as the PS5 game I was just playing, which we can get into later. But yeah, I don't know if they're going to address the performance issues without having a new model of Switch with actual like performance upgrades. Like the OLED model is great, right? Like everybody loves that screen, but it doesn't give you any extra oomph. It doesn't make the frame rate smoother. It doesn't make the games load faster. But I think that a Switch Pro is going to happen in the next 2 years, and that would be awesome for a game such as this and such as Breath of the Wild sequel, if that is coming this year. Like that would coincide perfectly. Like imagine if like the launch window lineup for a Switch Pro is Pokemon Violet and Scarlet and Breath of the Wild sequel, and also Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Like those are 3 perfect games, giant open world games that you can launch a Switch Pro with, right? And be like, hey, look how great. And Bayonetta 3 with how much stuff goes on in any given scene in that game. Like that is the perfect lineup this holiday season to launch an upgraded Switch model, right? So I think that would remedy a lot of the problems that people have with Pokemon Legends Arceus. Now, I don't know if we're going to get voice acting in Scarlet and Violet, which is another major complaint. That's a complaint I had in my review. But I mean, it's a possibility. I think that's going to be a Gen 10 upgrade, if I'm being honest, or maybe like a stopgap between Gen 9 and Gen 10. Like maybe like we get a Pokemon Legends, whatever other Pokemon they want to highlight. Like maybe we get a new Pokemon Legends game set in like, I don't know, another region, and that's when they start like toying around with the concept of voice acting, and
I
I'm
hope
talking
so.
way too much.
No, you're not. No, like I love it because God, you're just like, it's like you're in my brain, man, and you're speaking all the things I want to hear. Can you imagine a Gen 10 where there's no voice acting? Like, I mean, yes, because it's Nintendo, but no, like Elizabeth, to your point, yeah, I think what Brian says is spot on, and I think a lot of the things that people are looking for is just, you know, like modern conveniences. Like some voice acting would be nice. Like I feel like it's just wild that. Anyway, I'm not gonna kick that dead pony, Todd. It's very dead. It doesn't need to be beaten anymore.
All right, I'll kick it then. Why do we have voice acting in Final Fantasy X on PlayStation 2, but not in a Pokemon game that came out in 2020?
Fucking know, Brian. This is why I get so annoyed. I don't understand it. And I think when you were on last time, you really shed some light. And you're like, you know, you've talked to them, but they say they prefer their team to be smaller. Bullshit. Not that what you said is bullshit. That's a bullshit excuse. You have so much money. The Pokemon Company has so much money. You can make a bigger game. I don't even care if the frames drop from time to time, but my God, come on. Like, let's get some people on the animations team. Let's get some voice actors in there. Let's just kind of like modernize it. It's okay.
We finally got voice acting in Zelda.
Yeah.
Even if it was only in select scenes,
It
but
doesn't
like
matter.
still, like
it happened. Come on, let's do it. Anyway, yes, I don't think that's coming. I feel like if it was coming in this Scarlet and Violet shebang, you would have gotten like some fucking like, oh my God, it zoomed in on the main character or zoomed on someone and they started talking. The whole world would fucking explode because we would lose. Maybe in the next look we'll get it. But yeah, I'm with Brian. I think Gen 10 is hopefully where we get that. But if it doesn't happen, don't be surprised.
What's the first word the trainer says if they zoom in on him and like,
oh my God. No, here's the thing. Does the trainer speak? Or is it only...
No, it's going to be one of the silent protagonists like Link.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree. They always said like, oh, that's meant to be like
you,
the avatar for the player, right?
Yeah.
The trainer is even more so that. Like, at least there's a story behind Link, right? Like, he's the hero of legend or the hero of time or whatever. Like, the trainer is literally supposed to be you in the game, right? That's why you can customize the way they look. That's why, like, it's supposed to be like your journey through the Pokemon universe. So I don't think they ever give the trainer a voice.
I'm with you. I don't think the trainer will ever get a voice, but I hope like those main, you know, like NPCs will get a voice, like the main partners in the game.
Like the gym leaders,
the gym leaders,
or the rivals, or whatever.
Yeah, the rivals or the people that help you along your journey. Like, come on,
professor,
the professor, for fuck's sake, come on, the Pokedex. Hold up, I don't care. Give it a voice. Also, here's the question: would you rather the Pokemon make their little like sounds, or would you rather have them say their name?
Was that Voltorb you did?
That was my impression of like a GBA or Game Boy, excuse me, rather, like Pokemon. Like they're like.
I'm gonna look up what Voltorb sounds like. I think that was pretty close to Voltorb.
Okay, listen, I'll do the voice acting then, Nintendo. You can hire me. So yeah, but you know something interesting is what I've learned with Arceus is that I so miss the traditional formula of Pokemon. And
oh, it's an ad.
Oh, boo! Ads.
I tried to play it, but sorry.
Anyway,
what do you miss?
I miss just like the traditional formula. I miss the gym leaders. I miss the fucking like, oh my God, we made eye contact. We have to fight now. I just miss the cities and the towns. I really do miss that. I think there are some improvements with Arceus that they're going to learn from and implement into their open world. Like some of it will probably be great. As someone who's only played, though, 4 hours of that game, I can't speak too much about it. But, like, I'm sure there are some lessons learned because that game is obviously done with development and they still have many more moons to work on Scarlet and Violet. So I'm sure, like, lessons learned will be implemented. But anyway.
Here's the Voltorb cry.
Okay, here we go. That sounded like static.
It basically is, yeah. Okay. Sorry, I just need to compare to your Pokemon cry. But yes, to answer your question. To answer your question, I would much rather them have like modern sounding things. Like it like that, like the lack of voice acting. I pointed this out in my review of Legends Arceus. The lack of voice acting and the digitized cries that they do from like the Game Boy era sound like they feel like so antiquated in like the modern gaming landscape, especially the older versions because they are digitized, right? Like they're not like the modern sounds that they put out for like the Gen 7s and Gen 8s where they had the technology to make them sound a little bit more like growls or roars from like wild animals. Like go listen to like Pikachu's sound, and like it sounds like, oh, this is a sound from a Game Boy game.
Yeah. Yeah. But one of these days, Elizabeth, we'll get our modern Pokemon game. But who could say?
Yes.
Anyway, that's probably enough about Pokemon for now. Let's be real though, Brian and I could keep
Never.
going. But I know, right? We could really keep going. But we're gonna wrangle it in. I don't think there's a rope Pokemon. Like an escape. Grab your escape rope and wrangle it in. No, that was really bad. That was just really bad.
We're gonna recall the
okay.
Pokemon topic and move on to the next route.
We are. But first, I want to let you know that this episode of What's Good Games is brought to you by MeUndies. So imagine this. You're shopping and nothing fits right. Listen, we've all been there. And finding your perfect size can be annoying. Things either fit like a glove or you're straight up not having a good time. That's why MeUndies has the softest undies, bralettes, loungewear, and more that are made to fit just right. Now, I've talked about my love for MeUndies for quite some time now, but if you're new here, let me just tell you, there's literally nothing softer. There's literally nothing more I'd rather have touching my nether regions than MeUndies. They are really that soft, and I've gotten my husband addicted to them. I've gotten my other family members addicted to them. You just gotta try it. Just trust me on this. Your booty will thank you. Because MeUndies believes that comfort is about more than what's touching your skin. It's about feeling comfortable in your skin, and comfort starts with finding the perfect fit and size for you, which is why MeUndies wear tests on all sizes extra small to 4XL for everything they make. They also offer different cuts for different butts in bold colors to fun and adventurous prints. MeUndies wants you to find comfort in your size so the world can be a happier and comfier place for every booty. Now, MeUndies promises if you're not comfortable with any product for any reason, you can return your order for a full refund within 45 days. MeUndies has a great offer for our What's Good listeners. For any first-time purchasers, you get 15% off and free shipping right to your door. To get 15% off of your first order, free shipping, and a 100% satisfaction guarantee, go to MeUndies.com/WGG. That's MeUndies.com/WGG. Treat your booty right. A story near and dear to my heart, Brian. Resident Evil 2, 3, and 7 are getting Xbox Series X and PS5 launches. Ooh, not that I have time to play any of them again. So this comes from Polygon. So ray tracing, advanced frame rate support, 4K resolution, and other cutting-edge visuals are coming to Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 3, and Resident Evil 7, and versions for the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. The games will launch later in 2022. Players who have already bought any of the three on PS4 and Xbox One will get an upgrade within the same console family for free, Capcom said. The PS5 versions will make use of the DualSense controller's advanced haptic feedback. Furthermore, a patch bringing the same upgrades to PC will also be available free to owners of the game. Yay! This is really cool.
I'm a big fan of like these free upgrades. Like,
yes.
I don't even mind if I have to pay $10 to upgrade it. Like, I had Death Stranding on PS4, and it's like I never played it, so I was happy that like the director's cut came out and I could pay $10 and then have the PS5 version sit on my PS5 and never play it. So this is a great a great initiative, I think. Like, I'm glad that like these are free. Like, I would hate to, and like I just said, like I'm fine with like paying $10, but like it would kind of suck to pay like $30 to get all these. Like,
yeah,
I don't know, like it is. I'm glad that they're making these available rather than just like re-releasing them as like, oh, this is like Resident Evil 3 HD, like they used to do. Like, you know, like when they would just be like, this game came out on Xbox 360 and now you can buy it on Xbox One for $50. It's like, no, that sucks.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
I think I traced this back to Xbox's initiative. Like, when was it? It was like 2017, I think, when they announced that they were bringing the Universal Windows platform to Xbox. And basically, I had a conversation with Phil Spencer about that, and he was talking about how I asked him like straight up, like, all right, is backwards compatibility like one of the main reasons you want to do that? And he's like, it's one of the reasons, but like forward compatibility is a big thing for us, where we want to make sure that games that you buy today, just like if you buy them on PC, if you buy a PC game today, you can be sure that 10 years down the road, unless there's some huge change in like the way we make our operating system,
Mhm.
you know that a game you buy today is going to be compatible on your Windows PC like years down the road. You don't have that same reassurance today. Like if you buy an Xbox 360, this is me putting words in his mouth at this point, but if you buy an Xbox 360 game, you don't know if if it's going to work on your Xbox One until they introduce backwards compatibility, right?
Right,
But even
right.
then, like it was only a select stable of games. He wanted to make sure, this is what he was telling me like back in 2017, that by having the Universal Windows platform come to Xbox, it's going to make it so that when you buy a new console, all those games from your last console will still work. And we saw that promise kind of delivered with the Xbox Series X, right? Where like all of my Xbox One games and games that worked on Xbox One, so original Xbox games and Xbox 360 games that worked on Xbox One automatically worked on Xbox Series X. And that was great. Like that was
Oh,
an amazing thing to like fire that up and immediately have like 600 games that I could instantly play on my new console, as opposed to like having to worry about like, oh, well, will this game be backwards compatible? It's like, no, they're all backwards compatible. And that is amazing. And I think that it's amazing that that also with smart delivery, I think that that made it so that like if you remember, smart delivery was like a big buzzword for Xbox coming into this generation.
mhm.
And that basically meant that like, all right, well, if I buy, for example, Cyberpunk 2077 on Xbox One, and then at any point in the future I upgrade to an Xbox Series X, I automatically get the best version of that game depending on what piece of hardware I'm using. And I think that put the pressure on PlayStation to do the same, right? Like we've had
Yeah.
some games for PlayStation early on in its life cycle in the PS5 that you had to buy like
Confusing
the
as
collector's edition.
fuck.
Yes, you had to buy
Confusing.
like the collector's edition or like the $70 edition or whatever in order to get like the
Yeah.
next gen version for free. And I think that Xbox putting kind of like tightening the screws on that policy made it so that PlayStation and third party companies couldn't really get away with that. So like big ups to Xbox for establishing that as like a precedent and then kind of making it so other companies want to follow suit or else face the wrath of the community.
Yeah. And also shout out to Phil Spencer. He won the Lifetime Achievement Award at DICE.
He
Honestly,
did.
what a stand-up guy that Phil Spencer. What a good guy. We got a question about this actually from Stephen Dark regarding Resident Evil. And Stephen Dark wants to know, Resident Evils are getting upgrades. This is very strange. They are very new games and seems counterproductive for the team when they could be working on new material. Thoughts? So, like, I think about this, and I think about all the stuff Resident Evil has in the pipeline. They have Reverse, they have the Resident Evil 4 remake, which is just like 100% coming. They have the Resident Evil 3 Revelations rumored game that I also believe is coming. And then they have the Resident Evil Netflix series, which we know is coming for sure with Wesker. And we also know they have multiple studios. And
Yes.
so, right. And so I think it makes sense to keep this momentum going with Resident Evil. I feel like ever since Resident Evil 7, they've just been fucking crushing it. Granted, like Resident Evil 3 remake had like, it wasn't ideal, but it didn't harm them in any major way. Absolutely not.
Yeah, it wasn't the revelation, no pun intended. It wasn't the revelation that 2 was, right?
Exactly.
The 2 remake. Like that was incredible. Resident Evil 3 was just like, oh, this is good.
Yeah, it was good. It wasn't the Resident Evil 2 remake, right? And I think that's Resident Evil 2 remake was so fantastic that those were hard footsteps to follow. Is that the saying? Hard
It
act to
was a hard
follow.
act to follow.
Hard act to follow. That's it. And it just
Hard mill tank to follow.
a hard cow to follow. Okay, I could go down that rabbit hole. Anyway, yeah, and so we know they have multiple. So to me, like this makes sense because I'm like, keep that momentum going, keep people interested in Resident Evil. A lot of folks maybe haven't played the remake or they haven't played Nemesis, and now maybe they have their shiny new console, and they're like, oh, this could be a good time to hop in. And Resident Evil 7 is still such a great game. I just played that last year, actually, before Resident Evil Village came out. Fantastic. Really, really good. So I'd highly recommend if you haven't played any of these, you 100% should. I would love to go back and replay them, but, time is just a thing that we don't have a lot of. So, yay, Resident Evil.
I think that, like, yeah, as you pointed out, they have multiple studios. So this is almost certainly a different team than whatever team is working on either Resident Evil 4 Remake, if that is coming, which I'm almost certain it is going to.
Oh, yeah.
Or Resident Evil 9 or whatever the main like core team is working on. This is probably a side team that is working on these upgrades, right?
Yeah.
Because it's not like they're not creating content, they're not setting a creative vision for anything. They are literally just making it work better on newer technology.
That's it, yeah. And I mean, I don't even think I mentioned in there the Village DLC. So we know they have their Division 1, which is the primary. They have the M2 studio, which the rumors are that they were working on Resident Evil 4 Remake. They kind of got pulled off of that. So who knows what they're working on now. Anyway, all rumors and speculation at this point. But yeah, there's just a lot of Resident Evil happening, Steven. So don't worry about it. We're going to get lots
Capcom's
of
a big company.
Oh, yeah. They're not hurting. They're
Even if it wasn't like a Resident Evil team, like they have so many teams. Like they have a Monster Hunter team. They have whatever. Like they could just pull people and be like, hey, make these games, only like make them work better on new consoles.
And they'd be like, yes, sir. And they would do it. So,
and who knows, maybe they're even outsourcing it like we've gotten with other companies where it's
true.
like we're gonna contract like Iron Galaxy or something. Who knows?
Yeah, that could be. Either way, yeah, play these games if you haven't, friends. You'd make me very happy. All right, moving on to a Nintendo story, because of course, if Brian's on, we gotta talk about Nintendo. Nintendo's
Apologies.
No, it's a good thing. Nintendo Switch Online missions and rewards have been added. This comes from Nintendo Life. So Nintendo has added missions and rewards to its Nintendo Switch Online subscription service. These elements can be accessed by navigating the NSO icon on your Switch home screen, then selecting the missions and rewards section. And here you'll find a list of available missions, which are related to, as Nintendo puts it, things you're probably already doing with your Nintendo Switch Online membership. For example, this month it's Play NES software, play software that supports online play, use saved data cloud, etc. So stuff you're already doing, you'll get points for it. And this is what you get for taking place in these missions. You get platinum points. These can be redeemed for items in the My Nintendo store as usual, like digital wallpapers and physical items, but also, quote, new member exclusive icon elements you can collect and put together to create a new user icon. Sorry.
Hell yeah.
Icon elements are frames, characters, and background elements that you can use to customize your user icon on your Switch console. That's like your avatar. Once you've got enough platinum points saved, simply select the icon element you want and purchase it. Note that in order to change your reward icon elements, you will need to be in the NSO Online app. Okay, well, Brian, what do you think about this?
I think it's fine, right? Like it's stuff you're already doing, like whatever. Like, and if like say it says like, oh yeah, fire up Super Mario Brothers in your NES catalog, it's like, okay, I can do that. It takes 5 seconds, and then you get like platinum points, which can be used for those icon things, or it could be used for other rewards. Like I have my 2022 Nintendo calendar right here that I got with platinum points.
All right.
What is today? It's March, right? Yeah, we're in March now.
2nd.
God.
It's the day we are recording the
go.
show. Oh, it's that crime guy. Is that Tom Nook?
It's that crime guy.
The one that takes all your money. The crime guy. The crime raccoon.
The crime raccoon, yes.
That's
but yeah, so, and speaking of the crime raccoon, here's a sealed amiibo card of the crime raccoon.
Oh, wow.
Just happened to be mixed in with there by accident. So, yeah, I think they're fine, right? I'm like, why not get rewarded for stuff I was already gonna do? I don't know. I don't care. Sure. And like I like when like it was always fun whenever they added like new icon elements. Like when Animal Crossing came out, they added a bunch to like fool around with, and like I think when they add the SNES catalog to the Nintendo Switch Online service, they added a bunch. Like, so I used to have like Link from Breath of the Wild as my icon. I switched it over to Mario from Super Mario World. It's like, amazing. I don't know, it's a fun little thing to experiment with for like what your profile has on display. It's like a cool little like display of your personality and your favorite games.
I agree. I think it's, this doesn't cost anyone anything. It's just a fun little thing you get. It's just something that Nintendo's gonna Nintendo, and this is a very Nintendo thing for them to do. Again, they do cartwheels in their own universe, and I respect them for that. So cool. There you go. There it is, friends. What? That's just it. Why not? Bring some joy and cheer into this world. And we have one, in case you missed it, Ghostwire Tokyo gets a free visual novel prequel. So this is called Ghostwire Tokyo Prelude. It's been released on PS4, PS5, and it's a visual novel prequel that focuses on one of the game's main characters, KK, 6 months before the events of the main game. And now I think this is really cool. It's free, so like you can go in and enjoy it, especially if you're excited for Ghostwire Tokyo. Like I am. KK is the guy that invades the main character Akito's head, and just from the preview event that I got to see, and I think this may have been all disclosed during the trailer that just came out not that long ago, so don't worry, nothing's secret here. But he has a very interesting backstory, and because you are hearing a lot of story from his perspective, I think it would be really interesting to kind of like go through this and see like who is KK, like what has he been through, who are these friends that he mentions and talks about, and Why is he suddenly in your head? Who could say? So anywho, if you're interested in the story, make sure you go check it out. Because I'm going to, if I can find the time.
I mean, that game looks amazing, so
right?
I'm excited for it.
Oh, me too. So excited. So excited. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that will do it for this beefy news section. Thank you, Pokemon, and thank you, Brian. When we come back, we're going to talk about what we've been playing. See you soon. Yes, welcome back to the episode 2 of the What's Good Games podcast. Am I rolling with this? I guess I am. All right.
It's only episode 2?
Did I say episode 2? I meant to say segment 2. Ah, shit.
I thought you said episode, but maybe I misheard.
In case I did.
Like your actual talking voice.
In case I did. Welcome to segment 2 of the What's Good Games podcast. Here's where we talk about what we've been playing and any preview events we've been to. But before we get to that, I want to let you know that this episode of What's Good Games is also brought to you by Fixture Gaming. Is Pokemon Legends consuming every waking moment of your life? Catch all of those pocket monsters with ease with the perfect Nintendo Switch accessory, the Fixture S1. Fixture S1 was created by gamers for gamers who love the Nintendo Switch and Pro Controller, but want to be able to play on the go. This original patented design connects the Nintendo Switch to the Pro Controller for comfortable, precise, portable play, offering a great alternative to those Joy-Cons. Fixture S1's patented 2-axis design provides stability and balance in any playing position for optimal comfort and gaming performance. Snap your Pro Controller into Fixture S1 for handheld play, or use it as a stand in tabletop mode. In either mode, you can charge the Switch and Pro Controller at the same time, and Fixture S1's thoughtful design routes power cords out the back so they never interfere with play. To learn more, head to fixturegaming.com where you can get $5 off of your purchase with code WGG at checkout. Or visit Fixture Gaming's Amazon page by clicking our link in the show notes. That's fixturegaming.com, and you can use code WGG, which will get you $5 off of your purchase, or you can use our link in the show notes to visit Fixture Gaming on Amazon. This episode of What's Good Games is also brought to you by Guild Wars 2 End of Dragons. So Guild Wars 2 End of Dragons is the third expansion for the award-winning and critically acclaimed MMORPG Guild Wars 2, and is the culmination of the Elder Dragon saga. Explore the beautiful Canthan continent, travel and fish with your friends in your own personal skiff, unlock 9 new elite specializations, pilot the Siege Turtle combat mount, and more. So here are some of the new features that are coming to this expansion, which are new elite specializations, Siege Turtle combat mount, Jade Tech mastery line, new maps, fishing and skiffs, guild halls, and more. Now here's the thing about Guild Wars 2. Over 16 million people play it. I am one of those people. I played a ton of Guild Wars back in my day. I haven't talked about it on the show, but I loved Guild Wars 2 so much that, well, actually, when Christine Steimer introduced Jason and I to Guild Wars 2, and we had so much fun with it that one time when we were traveling, we were driving somewhere not too far away, but it was more of like a staycation. Anyway, we both brought like 32-inch TVs with us so we could prop them up in the hotel room, connect our laptops to the TV, and order room service, and we just played Guild Wars 2 all night. Like, that is one of my fondest memories of one of our early dating days, is just holding up in a hotel room, ordering room service, and playing Guild Wars 2. Like, you really can't beat it. Anyway, now that I really want to get back into this, the expansion came out February 28th, 2022, and if you want to learn more, and that was just like, last week? Wow. Anywho, if you want to learn more, you can go to twitter.com/guildwars2. Of course, you can just go to guildwars2.com. You can check them out on Facebook at facebook.com/guildwars2. Follow them on Instagram at guildwars2. They're pretty much everywhere. So go check it out, friends. That is Guild Wars 2 End of Dragons. Go to bit.ly/RT_WGG to get Guild Wars 2 End of Dragons. That's bit.ly/RT_WGG to get Guild Wars 2 End of Dragons. You have been playing Dying Light 2, and I am dying to hear your thoughts on it. Because this is a game that I was incredibly excited for, but it just didn't do it for me. You know what I mean?
Oh no. So I'm really enjoying it.
Okay.
So the way I've described it to some people as like why they should try it is it almost gives me Fallout vibes, like Fallout 3 was the game that got me into reviewing games, right?
Okay.
Like that was the game that I played and I was like, I love this game so much I want to write a review. And it was just for fun. It was just on like a forum that I was running at the time. And I remember message boards.
Oh
So
yeah. Oh yeah.
so I wrote a review of that and I was like, oh, I really like that. I should do another one. So I did that and I kept going and going and going. So like Fallout has a very special place in my heart. And this has a lot of like what a modern Fallout game should feel like, but also throw in parkour and zombies.
So I
And
loved the first Dying Light. Like I played a shit ton of it. And I think the issue I've had with Dying Light 2 so far is honestly, I think it was just the bugs. So I had obviously a pre-release copy for review, and then I tried to like dabble back into it shortly after release, but there was just too many co-op bugs that like wouldn't let me open dressers, or I couldn't turn in quests or something. So I haven't gone back to it, but it's kind of like Arceus, take a shot, where I want to go back to it. I think the time just wasn't right for it because the first Dying Light is one of my favorite co-op games of all time.
So I have not played co-op on it yet. So I haven't experienced any of those bugs you're mentioning in particular. Like there's some bugs in the open world, as any open world game has. But like it does seem like there are some problems with the co-op that I've heard from more people than just you. And I'm having a really great time with it as a single player, right? Like I'm going through, I love the way you flow through the environment. Like the parkour feels great. I think it's the best feeling like parkour since Mirror's Edge, the first one.
That's fair. Yeah. It is really
fun. And like first person platforming is tough to pull off. Like that was the worst part of Portal, which is one of the Portal games are one of my favorite. Like those are two of my favorite games of all time, right? Like Portal 2 in particular. Like I adore Portal 2. I have a giant poster. I don't think you can see it.
I can't see any of your cool stuff in your it's
right around that corner.
Okay.
Should I just go get the poster?
Yeah, please do. Go for it.
Right.
Ladies and gentlemen,
huge.
I saw you recently had posted a photo of your setup, and it's badass. All the stuff you have on your wall is great. But then can't see it. You just can't see it in this angle. Wow, that is a very large poster. That is impressive.
So if you look closely, it's signed by the entire dev team.
I can see that. That's awesome. Holy shit. Wow.
So,
YouTube.com/what'sgoodgames. Yeah, there you go. Now you have some background zhuzh, if you will. Some background space.
So Portal is obviously very near and dear to my heart. But that demonstrated to me, that was one of the first games that really demonstrated to me that first-person platforming is very difficult to get down, right? The first Portal was the one that demonstrated that to me. Because, like, there were puzzles where you had to, like, jump across platforms or, like, shoot portals and land on a particular platform. And I was like, it's really hard to, like, be aware of your surroundings in a first-person 3D game. And that makes a game like Mirror's Edge, the first one especially, because that was the good one, or either Dying Light game, like it makes them that much more impressive because it feels good to platform through these games in first person view. I think the parkour is phenomenal in Dying Light 1, and it's even better in Dying Light 2.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I do love the parkour, obviously, in both Dying Light games, but in Dying Light 2, it was really great, especially when you really get into a groove. And you're just going from rooftop to rooftop, or you're hanging off of like a window edge, and then you're hopping onto the roof and you're running or you're dropping. And there's just so much exploration in that game. And I think, for me, what really just hindered it was just some of the bugs that were kind of game breaky at the time. But I know Techland's been really good at updating with patches. So I probably just need to hop back in.
So far, I'm having a blast with it. I'm maybe 15 hours in at this point, maybe a little bit less. Having a really great time. Here, the story kind of falls apart later on, which might be indicative of the fact that they lost their entire lead writing team halfway through development.
Yeah. That's a good point, because I think obviously Dying Light 2 went through some sort of development hell. Will we ever get the full story? Who could say? But there were such grand ambitions for that game, and unfortunately, some of it did fall through. But I think what was hard for me is I was expecting, choice and consequence so much in this game. And I know there is a lot of that. I'm not trying to say that that's not there, but I think a lot of the writing, like you said, did fall short, and some of your consequences don't feel as harsh as maybe they should be. And I think when I go back to the first Dying Light, what did I love about it? Well, I love the combat. I know the word visceral is overused in this industry, but the visceral combat, I love the crafting. I love the wild weapons that you could craft, the parkour, the fact that it was co-op and you had this huge open world to explore with, little story beats here and there and little pieces of paper you could pick up and read. I loved that. And I think I have to take those expectations going into this game and kind of write off the story, as harsh as that sounds, because I think where Dying Light shines is all those things I just mentioned.
Yeah, the combat is great. The exploration, especially like the dark zones where like you have to go into like the kind of areas that are like super infested with like zombies. And like, of course, the parkour is amazing. And like, like you were talking about the first Dying Light, I had a great conversation with one of the, I don't know who, I wish I could remember who it was that I talked to. This was at PlayStation Experience 2015. Do you remember the final sequence of Dying Light 1?
Yes.
Where you had to like run through like a dark area and like all the zombies were chasing you and like it was like extremely difficult like platforming in first person.
Yeah, I was thinking about
and,
the DLC or the ending, but yeah, going back to I fuck with
No,
you
I'm
now.
thinking of like the base game.
Yeah,
that was my second review ever at Game Informer,
really?
Right? And
okay.
I remember playing that and just getting so freaking frustrated with that sequence, and I brought that up to whoever the developer was at PlayStation Experience 2015. So like, hey, let's chat about like the future of Dying Light, and like we were talking, and I brought that up to him, and he was like, I told him people weren't gonna like this, and like apparently there were some people in Techland that were like, this ending sequence, it's challenging, which good ending sequences should be challenging, but it's different from the rest of the game. That's a pet peeve of mine, is when there's a challenging thing that is a different mechanic than the rest of the game, or a different like pacing from the rest of the game. Like think of like Gears of War when you're shooting that weird cannon at the krill. And like you're on the back of the tank. It's like, and they just wreck you, especially on harder difficulties. It's like, it's such a different mechanic from what the rest of the game is, where it's like a cover-based shooter. That was what that felt like for me, to maybe a lesser extent, because we were still like utilizing like your parkour skills and everything, but like,
no, I feel you.
It was not the way that they had it set up for the rest of the game.
Yeah, and there should be a flow, right? Especially when you're near the end of a game, where I feel like the story is just climaxing and you're just getting to that. You want to just see what happens. It shouldn't be so difficult and such a new mechanic that you fail over and over again, because it kind of breaks that immersion. And now instead of
so hard.
Yeah, and now instead of being so excited about like finding out what happens in the end, you're just frustrated because you can't get past the stupid like end game bullshit. You're like, what the fuck is this shit? No, I feel you.
Yeah. So Dying Light 2, having a really great time with it. I think the combat's super fun. The world is great, and like I'm really enjoying kind of like, I don't know, I'm a sucker for like the checklist nature of open world games, where it's like you just collect 75 side quests and it's like, all right, I can just go through these one by one and check them off a list. And like, I mean, that's why I love Assassin's Creed Odyssey so much. That's why like I love giant open world games like Far Cry. They give you like, here's all these missions you can complete, and you can see which ones are nearby, and you can just go do them. And like that's super appealing to me.
That's me and Horizon
that's also
right now.
Something that yeah, oh my god. So Horizon and Elden Ring. So the reason I haven't played either of those games yet is I started Dying Light 2. I actually had Horizon before it came out, and Horizon Zero Dawn was one of my favorite games of last generation.
Okay.
I adored Horizon Zero Dawn. I wanted to replay it before Forbidden West came out, but finite amount of time.
Yeah.
And I was so excited that like, oh, I got a copy of Horizon Forbidden West before it came out. I started it up, and then I immediately said, no, Brian, you're making the same mistake you've made for years and years and years, where you start like 6 games at the same time and you don't finish any of them. So I made myself go back to Dying Light 2. I mean, I'm having a blast with Dying Light 2, but I really want to play Horizon Forbidden West. But I'm like, no, you have to finish Dying Light 2 before you move on to Horizon Forbidden West. And now I'm even further behind, because I also have I have Horizon Forbidden West. I had Sifu. I have Elden Ring. And now I'm playing the other game that I'm playing for work currently, which we can get into if you were ready to move on from Dying Light 2.
Oh, you're just fucked though. Like that's it. That's the problem, and that's something I also am trying so hard to get better at. Is like, there's all these games I really want to play because I haven't had the time to do it, and I'm thinking about. I'm like, no, hyper focus on one, and right now that game is Horizon. I'm 40 hours in. I probably have another 45 to go, and I know that. But what do? I can't stop playing it. But I can't pick up anything else. It's just.
I want to play it so bad, and it's making me like it's making me mad that I can't play it right now, because I really want to, but like I have other stuff that I need to do, and like I want to get through Dying Light 2 because I am enjoying it so much, and like I did this with Witcher 3, where Witcher 3, one of the greatest games of all time.
Mm,
I was
agree.
playing it, and I think maybe it was Shadow of the Tomb Raider that came out, and I love the old like the newer Tomb Raider games a lot, and I was
Mm-hmm.
like, all right, I love Tomb Raider, I love Rise of Tomb Raider, and then Shadow of the Tomb Raider wasn't as good, but I was excited for it, right? And
Sure.
so I stopped playing The Witcher 3 to play Shadow of the Tomb Raider,
You never went back to
and I
it.
was like 35 hours into The Witcher 3, and then eventually I went back to The Witcher 3, and I didn't remember
See?
anything,
Oh, it's
so
the
I had to
worst.
start over.
Ah, I feel
I'm trying to
you.
take my lessons learned. And the
Yeah.
same thing, oh my God, don't even get me started on early 2017. So we had
Oh.
Horizon Zero Dawn, which I was lucky because I got that early because that only came out a few days before Breath of the Wild,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So Horizon Zero Dawn, I was lucky enough to be able to beat before I got to Breath of the Wild.
Wow.
Breath of the Wild comes out and I'm playing it. I put in a good 65 hours my first playthrough. And then it's funny in hindsight, but at the time, people were really hyped for Mass Effect Andromeda.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Was that
And
2017?
so 2017 is ridiculous. If you look at the first half of 2017, in a matter of months, we got Yakuza 0, we got Horizon Zero Dawn, we got Breath of the Wild, we got Nier Automata, and we got Persona 5.
And Resident Evil 7 was in there too at
And
some
Resident
point.
Evil 7. Yeah,
Wow.
so and then also Mass Effect Andromeda, which, it turned out to not be an amazing game, but it was a super hype game. Like, people were excited about that.
Wow.
Like, if you look back at last generation, like, I mean, not last generation, 2 generations ago, Xbox 360, the Mass Effect trilogy was my favorite, like, new franchise, right? Like,
Mm.
I loved the Mass Effect trilogy. So, like, Mass Effect Andromeda, I was, like, all in on. And I was like, this is going to be amazing. I can't wait to have, like, a new story in this universe. And, like, there's, like, subtle references to the Shepard trilogy, but mostly this is, like, an all-new standalone adventure in this universe with all these, like, alien species that we've come to know and be familiar with. And then I played it after being like, all right, I need to wrap up Breath of the Wild because Mass Effect Andromeda is coming out. And then it's like, wow. It's like the Will Arnett gif of I've made a horrible mistake or a terrible mistake, whatever they've gone with.
God, I can't believe that. I mean, 2017 just seems like forever ago because it was. That was the year we launched What's Good Games. And I'm trying to remember back on our Game of the Year conversations, and mine definitely was Resident Evil 7, and everyone else's was Horizon. So, yeah, and then Breath of the Wild was in there. Oh, my God.
Yeah, that was like an incredible year. Like, and
Yeah,
then Mario
wow.
Odyssey was that year.
Oh, my God. Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Like,
So,
look at Nintendo's 2017 alone. You also had ARMS, you had Splatoon 2, you had Mario Odyssey, you had Breath of the Wild. Like, so you had a standalone
the
or
Switch released that
a
year. Yeah.
you had mainline Zelda and Mario games released in the same year, which is incredible.
God. What a time to be alive, 2017. You know what I mean? Simpler times.
I miss it.
I know. I miss it too. Pokemon Go.
Although
Oh, man.
2022 is shaping up to be incredible, like we talked about before, where it's
Right.
like, especially for Nintendo, but like then look at like Sony. We have the potential for getting a God of War sequel as well, in
Oh.
addition to a Horizon sequel.
Oh, yeah. It's never been a better time. Wait, I fucked it up. There's never been a better time to be. I was going to say, it's never been. That doesn't make any sense. This is why I'm not Phil Spencer. This is why I'm not
It's
on
okay.
stage.
I'm going to take a drink on
Go
your
ahead.
behalf.
This is why I'm not Phil Spencer, why I'm not on stage accepting Lifetime Achievement Awards. See, I just fucked it up too. Maybe it's a
No,
scotch.
it's okay. In 15 years, you'll be receiving a Lifetime Achievement Award. Don't worry.
Thank you. And I'll be like, see that, Phil Spencer? Sit your ass down.
Yeah, in your face, Spencer.
In your face. Now, Phil Spencer, lovely human. Okay, well, you've also
Always had good interactions with him.
He's such a nice guy.
He's a great guy.
Oh, great guy. You've been playing Gran Turismo 7, which, for those of you who don't know, racing games, I'm really good at Super NES Mario Kart. Like, that's my jam right there. Original Mario Kart.
See me on Nintendo Switch Online, Britt. Let's go.
I was going to say I will kick anyone's ass at Mario Kart, but that is my only claim to fame. I played a lot of Forza. I ran into more trees than I stayed on the road, but that's okay. I had a fantastic time.
So did you like Forza Horizon 5?
I loved it. I had a really...
It was my game of the year last year, which
Yes.
I never thought would happen. I
love
never thought
that.
a racing game would be my game of the year.
And that's it. Like, I don't do racing. Like, I just don't. To me, it's not that exciting. But what I love what Forza did with the whole open world making, it was one of the best open world games. It was gorgeous. It was so fun to play with others. I had so much fun. And now I did get a code for Gran Turismo 7, so thank you, Sony. But I haven't played it yet because I know this one's more based in reality. And I'm going to be honest, I don't know shit about racing games, really. So
I
can
thought you
you?
say you don't know shit about reality.
I mean, that I wish I'd love to go back to an alternate reality right now, man. Take me back to 2017. Like, let's go.
Yeah, let's
Um,
go back.
how's GT7?
I am still relatively early. I am, still going through a lot of like the early stuff at this point, but I am having a really good time with it. I am more in line with you in terms of like I prefer like kind of like the less simulation based stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like Forza Horizon 5, my favorite racing game of all time. I mean, maybe one of the Mario Kart games beats it out, but like that, I feel like those are completely different beasts at this point. That's like an entire kart racing and like automobile racing are different genres
True.
almost at this point, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I would say that like Gran Turismo 7, you're on closed tracks, you're not exploring a giant open world like you are in Forza Horizon 5, and you're not like throwing yourself off ramps or anything like that to see how far you can go. But like for what it is, like it is incredible. And like it's the meticulous details in the environments and to the cars, like the visuals are astoundingly beautiful. And I can't wrap my head around like how great this game looks. Like
Mm.
car games are always like visual showcases for consoles, but like even in like a world where like a Forza Horizon 5 exists or like a Grid Legends exists where it's like these are really great looking games like featuring like cars that have like super reflective surfaces
Mm-hmm.
and like beautiful environments to drive through. This is still like I feel like the pack leader, right?
Ooh.
Like it's one of the best looking games you can really play at this point. And again, car games kind of have a leg up in that like they don't have a whole lot of like human faces to model. Like there are some in this game. There are some human faces in this game. A lot of them are covered with helmets, but still, um, it's a really great looking game. It's a great controlling game. Like yeah, I love how they make the different surfaces feel. Like that was something that Forza Horizon really excelled at. Was like, all right, if it's raining, it feels different than if you're driving through the desert, or
Right.
if you're driving through a jungle and it's off-roading, it feels different than if you're on like a highway and you're on a straightaway. And like they do a really great job of that. And like I'm working my way through like some of like the license stuff. Like they have like a tutorial system that's built in through like acquiring your license. And like I'm working through some of these and like it's like wow, like there you really get to like obtain an appreciation for the mechanics through that system. And like I'm working on like my international I already have my national
Ooh,
licenses, and now I'm
fancy.
working through my international licenses. And like it there's a lot of really great mechanics that like this really like drives home when you're playing this. Like all right, now we're just going to do this basically like a mini game of like how to go around a corner, like a hairpin turn, or like it's like man, they really drill down into like it's self-indulgent in all the right ways because they're like, hey, our gameplay's good as hell. Now we're gonna zoom in on this one particular mechanic and make you like just freaking like you're gonna respect the hell out of this game, and we're gonna make sure that you do because we're gonna make it so you have to get this certain time on this one particular mechanic, or else you're not gonna get a medal and you're not gonna get this license that'll open up different cars for you. And
Interesting. Huh.
the other thing that I will say about this game is it really scratches the collector itch in me, right? Like I have such a I mean, if you could see off camera, I think I did it last episode where I like zoomed my camera over just a little bit and showed off like all of my like collectibles that are just off screen in this
Yeah.
display case. And this really capitalizes on that where it's like you have a collector level that
Oh.
every time you get like new cars or whatever, like it levels you up. And it's like, oh my god, like I just got a new car, all right, I gotta level up, and that gave me all these rewards and everything. And it's like, oh my god, this is gonna be a problem for me. So my probably like my most played game of all time is probably Final Fantasy X.
Okay.
But that's because I've played it like 6 or 7 times over the course of various consoles, right? Like I played the remaster on Vita, I played it on PlayStation 4, I played it on PlayStation 5, I played it on Xbox,
I get
played
it.
it on Switch. So I've played that game so many times across all these different platforms. I probably played it 3 times on PlayStation 2. I would say my most played game on my PlayStation 2, like just using that hardware, was Gran Turismo 3 A-Spec.
Oh.
And it sparked an obsession in cars for me. Like I was just
Really?
so crazy about cars when I was like that was like early high school for me, and I was just crazy about cars because of that game.
Interesting. That's really fun. That's a fun little fact. Like,
But that
huh.
franchise has not gripped me that same way since. So
Okay.
like I'm starting to feel the hook sink into me with this game.
You're
So
like,
like
here we go.
I'm thinking like this is like it's a very good game. I again, I'm not ready to render a final verdict here, but like I'm really enjoying this game.
Well, I was looking on Metacritic, and some people take Metacritic, they give it more weight or they give it less weight. But if you're a person who appreciates the Metacritics, it's currently sitting at an 88 with 84 critic reviews. That's a really great score. So I guess like my question to you is, as someone who just enjoyed Forza Horizon, like was that 5? That was 5, right? Or was that 6?
5.
5. And someone who usually doesn't do racing, is there something in Gran Turismo 7 that could appeal to me, or is this just very much like this is for the serious Sallies when it comes to racing?
The serious Sallies. I think it's for the semi-serious Sallies, which is alliteration at its finest, by the way.
Love it.
I think anybody who enjoys like just the vroom vroom of like fast cars can enjoy this game. Like if you don't want to go through all these like trials and everything, like there is plenty to enjoy with this game where it's like, all right, I just want to race. You can do that. Like you can just jump into a race. You can play online with friends. You can do these special time trials where it's like you choose what kind of music you want to play to, and it plays like you have to like make it through checkpoints, kind of like an arcade racer where it's like there's music playing and you just see how far you can make it before time runs out.
Oh, that's fun. Is there a story?
Yeah. Not really. Like
Okay.
it's more like there's a very loose like structure to the entire game where it's like at first like there's a hilarious screen where like you start out playing it and it's like, all right, you have to do this weird like time trial set to classical music. And it's like, okay, let's do this. And I did that. And then I got this big screen that says, you can now play Gran Turismo 7. And I was like, thank you. But then it gave me like, I'm not even kidding, like a 10 to 15 minute cutscene as soon as I entered it. Like, first of all, it was like a sizzle reel of like the history of the automobile. And it was like,
wow.
And then that was like real footage, like actual like footage of like cars being built and like people in like the 50s driving around in like convertibles. And then like, I was just like, what is this? And like I couldn't skip it. And then like it opened up to like, once we got to like the modern era, it opened up to like in-game footage. And I was like, okay, cool. We're gonna like do that thing where we jump right into a race. And it was like, here's another like 5 minutes of like in-game footage of like cars just driving around. I'm like, I get it. Your game looks amazing. Like
you said earlier though,
damn game.
Respect the game. They're like, listen, you are our bitch. You are going to enjoy this game, and you are going to watch what we want you to watch. Okay,
they're like, we know you suck at this game, so we're gonna show you how like a good player plays it, and then we're gonna like let you play the game.
Don't review our game poorly just because you suck, is what they're saying.
But they do a good job of like onboarding you, of being like, all right, well, here's like it's called menus, and basically it's just like side quests that you collect. Like the first one they give you is like, all right, here are 3 cars you need to collect to like satisfy this mission, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it says, all right, you collected those cars, here's your reward. And like, but they tell you exactly where you need to go. Like, here's the event you need to participate in order to get this car to satisfy this mission.
Got it.
And they do a really good job of pointing you in the right direction and making sure you have like all of the knowledge of where you need to go to get these cars if you don't want to just outright buy them with like credits. So they do a good job with that, but it is like it's so, I mean, again, I'm pretty early on. Like I was at DICE, and so I didn't get like as much time with the game as other reviewers have. That's why you have a review in progress on GameInformer.com, not a full-on review. But so far, it seems like they point you in the right direction, and they have a loose structure. And if you want to do it, you can do it, and you'll get the rewards. And if you don't want to do it, you can just go drive and like progress in other ways.
Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Brian, not only a master at the Pokemons, but a master at the racing games as well. I'm happy you're able to talk about it, because we do get requests from our listeners like, why don't you guys talk about racing games more often? It's like, because we don't. I think Andrea really loves the Burnout franchise, but I don't.
Frog, listen to your show.
Oh, I love that you called it a frog because we do call it my Muppet voice. When I break into a voice like this, it's Muppet. And it hasn't happened in a while. And I love that you call it Kermit because I feel like you just validated. You just like validated my entire existence right now. And I greatly appreciate that. But no, I mean, it sounds like GT is like, again, semi-serious Sally's. Probably not something up my alley, but I think I'll give it a shot. Because, you know, I'm feeling all like peacocky after playing Forza. I feel like I kind of have like a good grasp on the racing genre, if you will, even though I know the minute I start that game, I'm just going to, after I get through like the 20 minutes of cutscenes, learning about the history of the automobile, but from what it sounds like, I'll probably just run into all of the little barriers and whatnot. But yeah, it could be something fun to play. But I say as I'm still juggling Horizon and a few other games. Whoops.
Oh God, like there are so many games to play right now. Like Cyberpunk 2077, like just got like the next gen upgrade just got sent out to die basically. Like that had such potential to like garner an audience for the second time because everybody saw like this game has potential, but it is a total shit show right now.
Oh yeah, it's
when it launched, and now it's like everybody was waiting for the new gen upgrade, and it's like, oh, let's release it on one of the busiest springs that we've had in a long time.
Man, ain't that something? I mean, really, it's just, I guess it's just kind of a fitting. It's not the final story saga because I feel like I wonder if they're gonna do a harder marketing push, maybe like later on in the year, because like, I know they're still like gonna try to bring in multiplayer at some point, right? And maybe they're just kind of saving for that. I don't know, right? That's just it, maybe. Because here's the thing: is like, not to, again, the Ponyta is dead and beaten by now, but I liked Cyberpunk. Like, I didn't have a bad experience with it. I think obviously we all know it was just an overhype, under-deliver, but like I didn't have any major game-breaking bugs. I enjoyed the story. I enjoyed.
What did you play it on, by the way?
Xbox.
See, I played it on Xbox Series S.
Oh, okay.
And I had a mostly good time, but like I would walk into like a shop every once in a while, and everybody would be in T-pose.
See, no, that, oh god, that was one of my favorite things to watch at that time though too, were just like the funny like bugs and shit that people would get on YouTube. Some of the funniest compilation clips are on there. It's just the best of like cars randomly like driving, then they just like skyrocket up to space, or it's so fucking funny. But I liked it. I liked Cyberpunk.
I liked it as well. I mean, it's hard to follow up The Witcher 3 just because, like I said earlier, one of the greatest games of all time.
Yeah.
But like, I can't help but feel if they release Cyberpunk 2077 like new gen upgrade in like late April, May, that gets a whole lot more attention than like when you release it like 2 weeks before the Elden Ring.
The Elden Ring.
The Elden Ring. I don't know why I said it like the Google.
Because it is the Elden Ring. And a little aside, Elden Ring is not for me right now. Like, it's just I don't want to lose and die a lot. I'm enjoying a very chill game right now, but I just love everyone is talking about it. I'm seeing clips posted all over my Twitter timeline. It's just really cool when you get a game like that really unifies people, and it's a fun thing right now to see everybody playing it and enjoying themselves. And from what I hear, I mean, it's a fantastic, wonderful, one of the best games ever made, yada yada yada. But not for me right now. But maybe someday.
About my From Software cycle. Like, you hear about the Sonic cycle where it's like people get hyped, then they learn more about the game, they get less hyped, then the game releases to like middling reviews, and then it's like they announce that they've learned their lesson, and then they announce the next Sonic game and people are hyped, and then they learn more about the game. It just keeps going on and on and on. My From Software cycle is a new From Software game gets announced. I know From Software games aren't for me, so I just ignore the hype. Like, I'm just like, all right, I know it's not for me. Like, let people be excited about things, let people enjoy things. But it's not for me. I'm not going to get excited. Then we get close to launch, and the hype overtakes me. And then I'm like, I can't wait to play this damn game. And then I buy it on launch day, which I did with Elden Ring. And then I play it, and then I realize, oh, wait, From Software games are not for me. That's exactly what happened with me with Sekiro. And then I say, all right, well, next time they're not going to get me.
Wow.
And the closest it's ever come to me that like, I haven't played Elden Ring yet, so I think this, I mean, I'm falling victim to my own cycle before your very eyes. I don't think that, like, if there's a game that has a chance from Software, it's Elden Ring, because they're borrowing so much from like the Zelda formula, like the open world and everything, like just go wherever you want and like complete missions and everything, and like it seems very freeform in that way, the way Breath of the Wild was, right?
Right.
Like they point you in certain directions, and they like let you collect weapons and whatever, but like ultimately it's your call where you go.
Right.
And that appeals to me a lot. The closest that From Software has come for me was Bloodborne. And I played that for maybe 10 or 15 hours. I loved what I played with it, and I beat Father Gascoigne, who everybody says like, oh, well, once you get past him, it's like smooth sailing. Like that's like the real like difficulty check of like, if you can beat him, you're set for the rest of the game. And I beat him on like my second try, and I was like, hell yeah, like I'm good to go. And then I went and there was a swamp next, and I'm like, I don't really like this, so I stopped playing.
Oh, that was it.
I never played again, and I want to. I want to go back and play it again, but now Elden Ring's out, so I'm like, I might as well play this.
Yeah, just fuck swamps.
Eventually.
Like, never go back to the swamps again.
Once I beat Dying Light 2 and Horizon Forbidden West, maybe I'll play Elden Ring.
Okay, so in like 5 years is what you're saying. Well, as he hangs his head, that's the way it is.
It's not even shame. It's just like being defeated because like I can't keep up with all the like I'm so happy that I got Pokemon Legends Arceus before it came out as a reviewer.
Sure.
Because otherwise I would probably still be playing Pokemon Legends Arceus. I wouldn't have even started Dying Light 2.
Yeah. There's just so many large games right now, and like you said earlier, delays really kind of push things into different, quarters and whatever. Like, I'm not complaining. We have some fantastic games at our disposal right now, and they're really fun and great. It's just, hard to play all of them, but I guess it's a good problem to have.
It's the ultimate FOMO, right?
It's the ultimate FOMO. All we can do is
like,
get the little
oh my god, everybody's
thrills.
talking about Horizon Forbidden West. I'm still playing Dying Light 2. Okay. Everybody stop talking about Horizon Forbidden West. Now everybody's talking about Elden Ring. I'm still playing Dying Light 2.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah, there's no getting ahead of it. Well, Brian, as always, it's just an absolute pleasure to have you on this show. I just love the energy you bring, and I love all the Pokemon shenanigans. I feel like we had at least like 5 good, bad Pokemon jokes in there today. I feel like, we kind of crushed it from that perspective. So we are now the Pokemon comedians. Did you know that? You do now. That's the way it goes.
I did not hear what you said because I'm currently frozen.
Oh, you're back.
Oh, there we go.
Hey,
Yay.
he's back. I was just saying how we're now the Pokemon comedians because we had at least 5 bad, good Pokemon jokes in there.
I would say more bad than good, but yeah.
Well,
maybe. I don't know, but you still have a Magikarp as your Discord icon, so we'll say it's a net positive.
We'll say it's a net positive. Well, thank you again so much for joining us. Just remind us again, where can people find you?
All right, so Twitter and Instagram at Brian P. Shea.
Mm-hmm.
It's SHEA and Brian with an I. And then GameInformer.com for all of the daily shenanigans. Game Informer Magazine for all the monthly shenanigans. And then for all the weekly shenanigans, it's all things Nintendo on your favorite podcast platform.
Hell yeah. And I'll put all of those links in the podcast description so you can find Brian and look at his amazing selfies on Instagram and his food and his drinks. Seriously. Those food and drink pictures you post are just... You're a chef.
Well, I just posted a picture of the whiskey sour, so you can know exactly when we recorded this episode.
Yep, see, there you go. You need a better reason to check it out? I don't think so. Well, thank you again so much for listening, and we will see you next week with a very special guest. Goodbye, everybody.